Then
Well, the best thing a writer can do is have consequences. Because when you're writing a chapter, you're not just writing a cool scene, you're setting up where this is going. The small plots, the big plots, you're doing multiple things at once. And if after 3 or 4 chapters, nothing happens of consequence, then you're losing your audience. And 2, you've also said when you start to set up your next thing, who cares? Because nothing happened the first time so when I'm setting something up, the best thing I could do is have something serious occur. Because you're telling your audience, pay attention, because this is the kind of thing that could be a result. This person was disgraced after all of this. This is a terrible outcome for your character. Now people are like, oh man, like the writer's willing to do this terrible thing to these characters. Now you've got our attention because you are having consequences to what you've set up. When you stab someone with a lightsaber and pull it out and the person wakes up the next day and is like hopping off the bed, you are telling us that the next lightsaber battle, like you said, Heath, it's harder to get invested in it because, well, I guess if you cut off the hand, it'll just grow back, like regenerate, or like in Monty Python where the head starts talking and you just put it back on and you're good to go. You have to have consequences. And the more dire the consequences, that's part of the beauty of writing. You create a story with dire consequences, and then you force your characters to move past that terrible moment, and then there's more dire consequences. And like something like Breaking Bad, some of the best shows continue to have dire consequences over and over again, and people can't look away from the screen.
Yeah. And that sometimes means that you're going to have to actually kill off permanently really great characters. And it's going to hurt. That's what it's supposed to do.
That's Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Retro Nerd Girl, I'll also say you say permanently kill off, but also there's the element of permanently changing relationship dynamics. And you see this sometimes, we're going to have this consequence, and maybe they don't die. I mean, sometimes you've got death, and that needs to be permanent in almost all cases. But you can have something happen, even if it doesn't result in the death of a character, but that it permanently changes the dynamics between that character and another character or characters. And if you've got some kind of good dynamic going on between characters that the audience likes, and then you have something that happens that should be really significant, it should be a major change. And Brianna and I have talked about this when we're writing. There does seem to be an instinct to go, but the audience really liked the relationship between the characters before that happened. So we're going to reset that relationship so that we can have that some more for another season, kind of like resetting the relationship between the Mandalorian and Grogu. And I haven't gotten into the 3rd season of Mandalorian, but there should be a dramatic change. But then what we were talking about, hey, but wait a minute, Mando and Grogu, their relationship was so cool and people liked it. So we have the significant event, and then but hold on, we have to undo that and we have to reset that. So it can be death, but it doesn't always have to be death. But we have to pay attention that when characters change, that it's significant, and you resist the urge to go back.
Well, in tarot, when you draw the death card, it means change. It means significant change. It does not mean death. It means change. So I think James mentioned, okay, that's the exact quote I was looking for. There are a million metaphors for death. So yeah, something of, I guess on some level, it's the idea of severe consequences again. The death of a relationship, the death of innocence, the death of your ship. There is a bunch of things you could do that have major consequences. And if done right, to me, storytelling is about setting up those consequences. When I'm in chapter 1 or 2, I'm setting you up for the moment of consequence when something severe is going to happen. And maybe the readers don't like that, but they cared. And so they flip to the next chapter and they're going to go on with you on this.
Yeah. I mean, I think in for the purpose of this particular story, and let's go back to the whole Sabine stabbing situation, it would have been interesting if by getting stabbed, she was actually really hurt, and could not bounce right back. But she could heal, right? It was going to take time. And maybe the bad guys, sent like a siege to overtake, the place in order to, get something or get her. They wanted to finish the job or something where the objective changes to like, okay, now we have to save this person's life. Or now we have to protect her because now she's a target, or something where we actually like that character is not going to just be jumping up and down like nothing happened. Like she's hurt, you know.
Yeah.
She's in the bed. Like
what you're talking about.
Say that again.
It even could be mentally, like what you're talking about, the consequences. You know, maybe
she's in a coma or something.
Yeah, people. You know, I'm sure people still would have complained, and who knows, I might have still been one of them if she's not physically, if she recovered physically.
Yeah.
But we could have had a major mental consequence that she's completely, you know, or confidence has been shaken. She's no longer mentally the same person.
You know, if you would have had her on the deathbed, more of a deathbed situation with Ahsoka at her side, and she's like, you know, I really wanted to learn the ways of the Force. I really wanted that. And Ahsoka's like, I know. And then Sabine goes, and now it'll never happen because she doesn't think she's going to live. I would feel sorry. I'd be like, you know, they weren't talking to each other. Now she's just coming out with it. I really did want this. I really wanted you to teach me and show me the ways of the Force. And I didn't know how to say it. And now I don't get a second chance. I've lost the opportunity. Yeah. That would make me feel a little sorry for her. And then if she does end up surviving, to your point, later, you know, earning the healing, coming back to
yes.
Then we're like, okay, she said it. It's out there. They know Sabine knows what she wants. And now, you know, a lot of characters after a near-death experience gain conviction towards something.
Could be that too.
How much more special would have that battle between Shin Hati been if she had actually had to really have a challenge to come back physically? You know, it would have been very emotional. You're like, oh, this really matters to her.
Well, they're fighting again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which I didn't get, which in that episode I did not get it.
So if I'm Shin, if I'm writing dialogue for these two, and remember I said a lot of times dialogue is an extension of the combat. You're getting in their heads. Shin has great opportunity to get in this person's head. You know, I fought you last time, you know.
Yes.
We've done this before, sweetheart. You know, this is gonna, you know. So I mean, haunt her, let her know. Be like, dude, I already stabbed you. You're lucky you survived. Like, you know, this time I'll make sure I'll make sure you don't get up. You know, wouldn't if I got stabbed through by this person and they're taunting me this way, I'd be like, maybe they're right. Maybe I should be scared here. You know.
Absolutely, yeah. That you're so right. You know, and then for me, I think I lost that desire to see consequences after the space bit. I think after that, I was like, oh, now I know what I'm watching. This is just for fun. This is silly. None of this really is. You know, there's no consequence for floating into space and like what is that?
We could marry Poppins. We could do all sorts of things.
Yeah. Look, like I said, I loved it for the funny bits of it, but I can't take it serious anymore. I can't like spend a lot of time caring about these characters or feeling like the tension's high on there. But that, you know, like I said, that battle between Baylan and Ahsoka did do something to me. I was like, oh, finally, they're actually doing something. Like, finally.
I totally agree. I perked up when they started fighting, and I actually rewatched the lightsaber battle, and I was particularly admiring Ray Stevenson's performance, and I was like, this guy is carrying this show right now because he's so intimidating.
I completely agree with that.
Oh, yeah.